welcome to Harp Week Live. It's Thursday. Today's going to be your harp class, harp demo, Harp 101. But before we get into that, as people are still logging on and joining, I was just going to play a little song to get us started, and then we will start talking about this instrument. A little Beatles for you. I have a lot of information to give you about this wonderful instrument, the harp, and I'm going to try to do it in a coherent way. I've made myself some notes so I won't forget to say some things, and if you're live right now and you have a question that you want me to answer, you can go ahead and put it in the comments, and my producer / cameraman extraordinaire will feed me some of those questions if he can do that for me. So let me put this down and move some things out of the way so you can see. So the harp is one of the oldest instruments. They found it dating back to at least 3000 BC. You can read about it in the Old Testament, David playing his harp. He probably didn't lug this around the countryside, and he probably actually didn't even lug this one around the countryside, but it was more like this one. So it started out most likely with an archer and his bow. You can kind of see the outline of a bow with a string. And then as they decided they would add more strings, it was a handheld type harp. That's the harp that you would see. Ireland has it as their national symbol, that smaller harp that you could throw over your back and truck around the countryside. Then they got to be a little bigger as well, and started putting some mechanisms here at the top. This is so that you can play more notes than what are available just with the strings themselves, and I'll demonstrate. When these are down, they're not engaged on the string. If I raise this up, it's going to pinch the string and make it a little shorter, which makes it higher. So the longer string is open, pinch it. So you can see on this harp, there's one of these levers on every string. And so every string can play two different pitches, the open pitch and then the shorter pitch. So that technology allows you to play a lot of different notes. However, each time you want to change a pitch, you have to reach up and switch it while you're playing. And it only switches the string that you're doing. And the reason why I point that out, which is obvious, is because this harp, that's not how it works. And I'll show you that in a minute. So enough about this one. We'll go back over to this one. So in 1720, somebody came up with an idea to put foot pedals on a harp. And then in 1810, they changed it to what is now being used called the double action pedal. I will show you what that means. At the bottom of my harp, there are 7 pedals, one for each note of the scale. So if you went from C to C, this is the pedal. Oop, I gotta show my socks with my harps on them. Special for today, Christmas present. C pedal, D, E, F, G, A, B. So unlike this harp, where if you change one C, it only changes one C, if I push this C pedal, it's going to change every C at the same time. And there are 3 slots, which is why it's called double action. Flat, natural, sharp. Well, let me show you what that's doing up here at the top. You see this? Okay. Every red string is C, and I'll talk about the strings in a little while too. So it's just like that. If it's all the way open, this string now is this long, and it sounds like this. If I push this pedal, this is going to twist. Ah, wrong one. And now it's this long. If I push it down one more time, this one's going to twist. And now it's this long. The shorter the string, higher the pitch. High, ooh, and low. So I can go on the same string. They all did it together. So all the C's go at the same time. Same with D's. Same with every note. So as you can see, that can get complicated, but let's back up a little bit and talk more about this instrument. So once they made this type of harp, that's when composers started adding it into orchestras. They were not interested in the harp at all when it only could do those types of things. They wanted the full range of the scale, flexibility, versatility. Once this was invented, we started playing in the orchestras, which is what I love to do. So in 1889, Lyon & Healy, this is a Lyon & Healy brand harp, which is in Chicago. They set out to make the best harp they could that wouldn't buzz, that would stay in tune, that would stand up to all the pressure that the strings are putting on all of this wood. And in 1890, they came up with this specific carving pattern. So this very specific carving pattern has been around since 1890. There are 1,500 parts up in this space alone. You can't even see them. They're mostly obstructed. But that is what is twisting all of these discs from the pedals. How does that happen? There are rods going up through this hollow column that attach to all these metal parts that are doing all of that. You had no idea, did you? You're just watching the hands. All right, so it takes them 9 days to build each mechanism at the factory. 35 different people will have worked on each harp. And overall, there are 2,000 parts. 1,500 parts up here, 2,000 parts overall. People ask me what kind of wood is it made out of. This soundboard is a Sitka spruce, and it's hollow all back here. That's where the sound comes from. This is maple, and I've been to the factory. It's really, really fascinating. They mark each piece of wood, even though it's in many different places in the factory at different times, so that when they build it at the end, it came from the same tree. So, I mean, obviously spruce and maple aren't the same tree, you know what I mean? So that the pattern of the wood, the grain, the color will look right. It won't be like, you know, it won't match. So they match it so it looks good. People ask me how much do they cost. It depends on how much man hours go into the woodwork. The guts of the harps at Line and Healy are made out of the same thing, so the differences in price are going to be all this ornate carving that they do by hand. It takes 200 hours to do this design. And the difference between this one and, if you want to show this one over here that does not have the ornate carving, the difference is $10,000 as a new harp, just because of the man hours that go into the carving. A new one like this one is 20 years old. A new one, if I wanted to replace it, is I believe right now $32,000. That one's also about 18 years old, but a new one to replace that one is 10,000 less, so about 22,000. All right, and the factory, they only make 300, 400 of these a year, pedal harps, not just this kind, but they put a lot of time and effort into it. You have to get on a waiting list for the most part because of the time involved. All right, how you doing out there? You with me? I might take a little bit of a deep dive into the pedals, and if it's getting too much, don't worry, I'm coming back to other questions like fingers. But let's talk about the strings. Somebody asked me, why are they different colors? So every harp is the same. I'm not cheating. They're red, black, and then what you call that? Cream. And that's so you know where you are. I told you already, all of the red strings are C's. So this is middle C. If you're familiar with piano, that's middle C. If I have all the pedals set in the middle slot, this will sound like the white keys on piano. Black ones being F. So this would be great if I only ever needed the white keys on the piano. If I need flats or sharps, the black keys on the piano, that's when the pedals get involved. So let me demonstrate. Let's see. Let me demonstrate with the piano for a second. You can come over here. And it's out of tune. Haven't had it tuned since we moved. This is middle C. Right next to it is a D. This one in between, you can either call it C sharp, or you can call it D flat. It's the same thing. C sharp and D flat. So let me show you how I do C sharp and D flat on the harp. This is my C, this is my D, just like I showed you. C sharp, I'll put my C pedal into sharp, can make my C, my D sound the same, which is how you get the beautiful glissando sound that you love to hear from the harp. That happens because I've made two notes sound the same, two places. If I didn't do that, it would sound like this. Still pretty, but not as pretty. So I can do that many different ways. I can do these two. And if I lost you, at least this sounds pretty. All right. To further demonstrate how pedals can change how something sounds, I'm going to go back to playing, I played this on Monday. I'm not going to play the whole piece, but I'm going to show you the difference between playing it without changing pedals and playing it with changing pedals. That's all you need to know. So it's Over the Rainbow. One time through, no pedal changes, and then the second verse, pedal changes. Change any pedals. Second time I changed eight different pedals changed to make it sound that way. So jazz music needs pedaling. Anytime you change any note out of the original key signature, you have to change a pedal. So if you have more questions about pedals, I could do a whole thing about pedals. But I will not do that to you. Okay, back to the strings. People say, what are they made out of? I string with 3 different types of string on this harp. So most people do, well, you have to do at least 2 different types. I do 3. The very top of mine, I string in nylon just because they are more, they won't break as quickly. And the ones at the top are very, very thin. So I use the nylon just for breakage. I don't want them to break. From here through here, these are made out of gut. If you want to get technical, it's cow intestine, small intestine if you want to get even more technical. And I read in an article just this past month that the cows that they use, they do not feed them anything with carrots, so they won't turn orange. That's hilarious, but anyway. Cow intestines. People ask me, does it hurt my fingers to play? It only hurts if I haven't played in a while and I don't have my calluses built up. So I do have calluses on the end of my fingers. They aren't really visible because they're very under the surface, so I feel them, but you wouldn't even really see them. If I haven't played for a while and I go right into playing a lot or playing really hard, I might get blisters, so I have to be very careful about easing back into playing if I've been on a vacation or something like that. And the thing that hurts the fingers the most, to me, is doing a lot of those glissandos. So if I have like an orchestra piece that has a lot of really loud glissandos and everybody else is playing loud too, I will use a pick so I don't rip my skin off. So the difference between using a pick and not using a pick. is a little different. It's a little harsher. But in an orchestra, if everybody's playing loud and it needs to cut through, this is the way to go. Ah, yes. You might not have noticed this yet, but I never use my pinkies. They are not ever used. 4 fingers each hand, pinkies just hang out. Sometimes people try to tell me, yes, you did use your pinky. I saw you use your pinky. You didn't. It might have moved in sympathy, but it did not pluck a string, I promise. No calluses on my pinkies. All right.
And fingernails.
Oh yeah, I have to cut my fingernails very short. All right, let's go through some questions I've gotten. How do you tune it? Do you tune it? Do you have to have somebody else tune it?
Wait, finish. People want to know how many strings.
Oh, how many strings? Gotcha. A concert grand harp, which is this one, has 47 strings. That's the most you'll have. A semi-grand has 46. And then you can get, I have like a student model pedal harp that has 40. And these have, the biggest ones have 38. This one has 36. But yeah, the concert grands have 47. Let's see. It is the most like a piano of any other instrument. However, it's not a piano. I get a lot of harp parts that look like they were written by a piano player, and I can tell because I also play the piano. So there are subtle differences, but if you looked at the music, you would say, oh, that looks like piano music. Can you see this? It looks a lot like piano music. The differences will be in certain markings, like a harmonic. A harmonic is a note where I play it. This is what a G sounds like. If I put my hand here and cut it off, I just made it sound like that G. So that's a specific technique. It gives it a different quality. We've only got 5 minutes left. Okay. All right. Don't you wish you played the flute? I get that all the time. Mostly while I'm rolling it around on this cart. Show you how I move it. You get a specific harp part that has a tray and this curved part to load it onto here. Once it's rolling, it's really not heavy. It's not bad. These harps weigh around 80 pounds, so it's not terrible. A lot of it's hollow. This one is 6'2", and it fits in the back of my SUV. I have a mattress that I keep in the back, and I just pull it out about halfway, lay the harp on it, and then you pick it all up and it slides in. So I just have to get specific SUVs that are long enough, seats go down correctly, all that kind of good stuff. But otherwise, not too difficult to move. Why do people say don't harp on it? I didn't know that either. I had to look it up. So the original phrase is don't harp on the same string. So I'm going to show you what harping on the same string sounds like. And you tell me if you want me to stop.
You can stop.
Okay, I'll stop. You don't like that, do you? I don't either. So that's why they say don't harp on it. Don't harp on the same string. It's annoying. Stop. Make it stop. Oh, tuning. Yes. So I have tuning key. It has a very specific shape on the inside because on the back of this harp are the pegs for each string, and you put it on it. Again, just lengthening it and shortening it by twisting it this I tune it. I tune it before concerts. I tune it during intermission. I want it to stay in tune. It's affected by temperature. It's affected by humidity. After the first half of a concert, if the stage lights have gotten hotter or brighter, and it gets warm, then the harp goes flat and I have to tune it back up. So I tune it a lot. If it needs, it does need, it's called regulation. It's best to do it once a year, and they're very highly skilled regulators that travel the country and they schedule cities that they go to, and then you get on their schedule and they'll do the maintenance on the harp. So I don't send it anywhere, I don't take it somewhere, they actually travel the country and come to us. Let's see, showed you how I move it. One more question, and I think he meant it as a joke, but it's actually a good one. He said, does playing the harp make you a better tennis player? I love to play tennis. I actually think both. I think playing tennis makes me a better harp player. I think playing harp makes me a better tennis player, and I'll tell you why. Both are very physical, full body workouts. As you can see, when I'm playing, if I have to play pedals and play, I might have both of my feet off of the ground and doing this at the same time and moving, and so I need a good core. I need my back to be strong. It's a lot of coordination to be doing, pushing, doing this and playing at the same time. So you need strength here, and then also I'm playing like this, so that's a lot of shoulder and back doing this. And the difference is harp, you're holding it steady. Tennis, you get to swing freely, so I think they actually help each other, because one is kind of the strength doing this, and the other is the loosening of the muscles doing that. So I think they both go very well together. Any other questions that have come up?
Yes.
Okay, let me know.
When did you start playing harp?
I started when I was 6 years old. I was playing piano at 4. My mom was a piano teacher, and I wanted to pick up another instrument because my older brother was getting to do that going into middle school. And I had seen the harp on TV, and I just thought it was beautiful, and I wanted to play it. And I bugged them long enough that they got me started, and that's how I got started.
Is it ever too late to learn to play the harp?
No, never. I had a lot of retired people that say, I always wanted to do this. And they are still playing and they love it, and yeah, it's never too late. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, well, if you think of anything else, just send me a message and I can respond right back to you and tell you. And I hope this has been interesting. I love this instrument. It is a complicated one, but it's worth the work, and I enjoy bringing it to you. Come back tomorrow.